Hey, you. Man, it's a late night. But this brings me peace. I hope you're fast asleep. Or tucked in. With your heart. And maybe my heart. And, of course, the little peach. This is A Wizard of Earthsea. Chapter 6. Part 4. The last sentence. They walked in silence, and the silence of winter lay on the land. How far? Jed asked after they had gone some miles, seeing no sight of village or farm in any direction, and thinking they had no food with them. Skjor turned his head a moment, pulling up his own hood, and said, "Not far." Skjor's voice changed a lot, huh? It was an ugly face, pale, coarse, and cruel, but Jed feared no man, though he might fear where such a man would guide him. He nodded, and they went on. Their road was only a scar through the waste of thin snow and leafless bushes. From time to time, other tracks crossed it or branched from it. Now that the chimney spoke of Nashum was hidden behind the hills in the darkening afternoon, there was no sign at all of what way they should go or had gone. Only the wind blew always from the east. And when they had walked for several hours, Jed thought he saw, away off on the hill in the northwest where their way tended, a tiny scratch against the sky, like a tooth, white. But the light of the short day was fading, and on the next rise of the road he could make out the thing, tower or tree or whatever, no more clearly than before. "Do we go there?" he asked, pointing. Skjor made no answer, but plodded on, muffled in his coarse cloak with its peaked, furred Osgilian hood. Jed strode on beside him. They had come far, and he was drowsy with the steady pace of their walking, and with the long weariness of hard days and nights on the ship. It began to seem to him that he walked forever, and would walk forever, beside this silent being, through a silent, darkening land. Caution and intention were dulled in him. He walked as in a long, long dream, going no place. The otok stirred in his pockets, and a little vague fear awoke and stirred in his mind. He forced himself to speak. "Darkness comes, and snow. How far, Skjor?" After a pause, the other answered, without turning, "Not far." But his voice sounded not like a man's, but like a beast's, hoarse and lipless, that tries to speak. Jed stopped. All around stretched empty hills in the late dusk light. Sparse snow swirled a little, falling. "Skjor," he said, and the other halted and turned. There was no face under the peaked hood. Before Jed could speak spell or summon power, the Gebeth spoke, saying in its hoarse voice, "Jed." Then the young man could work no transformation, but was locked in his true being, and must face the Gebeth thus defenseless. Nor could he summon any help in this alien land, where nothing and no one was known to him and would come at his call. He stood alone, with nothing between him and his enemy but the staff of yew-wood in his right hand. The thing that had devoured Skjor's mind and possessed his flesh made the body take a step towards Jed, and the arms came groping out towards him. A rage of horror filled Jed, and he swung up and brought the staff down, whistling on the hood that hid the shadow face. Hood and cloak collapsed down nearly to the ground under that fierce blow, as if there was nothing in them but wind. And then, writhing and flapping, stood up again. The body of Agebeth has been drained of true substance, and is something like a shell or a vapor in the form of a man, an unreal flesh clothing the shadow which is real. So, jerking and billowing as if blown on the wind, the shadow spread its arms and came at Jed, trying to get hold of him as it had held him on Roke Knoll. As if it did it, it would cast aside the husk of Skjor and enter into Jed, devouring him out from within, owning him, which was its whole desire. Jed struck at it again with his heavy smoking staff, beating it off, but it came again, and he struck again, and then dropped the staff that blazed and smoldered, burning his hand. He stepped back, then all at once turned and ran. He ran, and the Gebeth followed a pace behind him, unable to outrun him, yet never dropping behind. Jed never looked back. He ran through that vast